What if I told you that there's a rare breed of men who crack the code of life's most profound lessons before they even hit puberty? While most people spend 7 decades stumbling through existence, making the same mistakes over and over again, Sigma males somehow download life's cheat codes during their formative years. These aren't your typical alpha males fighting for dominance in the schoolyard. These aren't beta males following the crowd. Sigma males are the quiet observers, the strategic thinkers, the ones who seem to possess an almost supernatural understanding of human nature and life's deeper mechanics from an impossibly young age. Today, we're diving deep into the 6 game-changing lessons that Sigma males internalize as children, lessons that most people only discover after a lifetime of painful trial and error. If you've ever wondered why some men seem to navigate life with an almost mystical level of wisdom and effectiveness, this video will blow your mind. And if you're a Sigma male yourself or aspire to develop these traits, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We're building the ultimate community of high-value men who understand that true power comes not from dominating others, but from mastering yourself. Let's get started. 1. Strategic solitude mastery. While other children desperately seek validation through constant social interaction, Sigma males discover the transformative power of strategic solitude before they even understand what the word strategic means. This isn't about being antisocial or awkward. It's about recognizing that your most profound growth happens when you're alone with your thoughts. Most people spend their entire lives running from solitude. They fill every moment with noise, distractions, and other people's opinions because they're terrified of confronting their authentic selves. They reach their 70s still unable to sit alone in a room without feeling anxious or incomplete. But Sigma males? They crack this code as children. A young Sigma doesn't need a crowd to feel valuable. While his classmates are desperately trying to fit into groups, posting every meal on social media or seeking constant approval from others, the Sigma child is perfectly content reading a book alone, building something with his hands, or simply thinking. He intuitively understands that external validation is a trap that keeps you dependent on others' moods and opinions. This early mastery of solitude creates an unshakable foundation of self-reliance. The Sigma learns to process emotions independently, to think through problems without needing a committee of advisors, and to find entertainment and fulfillment within himself. He discovers that his own mind is the most fascinating place he'll ever visit. Consider the practical implications. While others are burning energy on social drama, seeking approval, or trying to maintain exhausting social personas, the Sigma is using that same energy for skill development, deep thinking, and authentic self-improvement. He's not avoiding people. He's choosing quality over quantity in all his interactions. This childhood lesson becomes his adult superpower. In a world full of people who can't function without constant external stimulation, the Sigma moves through life with an inner calm and self-sufficiency that others find both mysterious and magnetic. He doesn't need anyone else to complete him because he learned early that completion comes from within. The Sigma child discovers what most people only realize in their final decades, that the relationship you have with yourself is the only relationship that truly matters. Every other connection in your life is a bonus, not a necessity. This knowledge becomes the bedrock of everything else he'll achieve. 2. Emotional independence cultivation. Most children learn to regulate their emotions through external sources, a parent's comfort, a teacher's approval, or a friend's validation. But Sigma males develop something far more powerful: complete emotional independence. They instinctively understand that relying on others for emotional stability is like building your house on quicksand. While other kids are having meltdowns when things don't go their way, the young Sigma is already practicing what psychologists call emotional self-regulation. He doesn't throw tantrums to manipulate others into giving him what he wants. Instead, he processes disappointment internally, learns from it, and moves forward stronger. This isn't about suppressing emotions. That's what emotionally immature people do. The Sigma child learns to feel his emotions fully while maintaining control over his responses. When he's angry, he doesn't lash out. When he's sad, he doesn't seek pity. When he's excited, he doesn't need others to share his enthusiasm to validate the feeling. Consider this real-world example. While his classmates are devastated by a teacher's criticism or a friend's rejection, the Sigma child processes these experiences as information rather than personal attacks. He asks himself, "What can I learn from this?" Instead of, "Why don't they like me?" This fundamental shift in perspective becomes his emotional armor for life. By adolescence, while his peers are riding emotional roller coasters based on social media likes, romantic drama, or peer pressure, the Sigma maintains an inner equilibrium that seems almost supernatural. He's not cold or unfeeling, he's emotionally evolved. He understands that your emotional state should be determined by your values and goals, not by external circumstances or other people's moods. This emotional independence becomes magnetic to others. People are naturally drawn to those who don't need them for emotional support, but choose to share their lives anyway. The Sigma's emotional stability creates a safe space for others while keeping him free from the exhausting drama that consumes most people's lives. Most people spend decades learning this lesson through painful relationships, therapy, or life crises. The Sigma male learns it as a child, giving him a massive advantage in every area of life. 3. Value-based decision-making. While most children make decisions based on immediate gratification, peer pressure, or parental approval, Sigma males develop an internal compass that guides their choices based on personal values rather than external influences. This is perhaps the most powerful lesson they learn early, and one that most people never master, even in old age. The average person spends their entire life making decisions based on what others expect, what society demands, or what feels good in the moment. They choose careers to impress their parents, buy things to signal status to strangers, and enter relationships to avoid loneliness rather than because they genuinely want partnership. They reach their 70s still living lives designed by committee. But the Sigma child intuitively understands that authentic power comes from making decisions aligned with your core values, regardless of external pressure. He doesn't cheat on tests, even when everyone else is doing it, not because he's afraid of getting caught, but because integrity matters more than grades. He doesn't join popular activities that conflict with his interests just to fit in because he values authenticity over acceptance. This value-based decision-making creates what philosophers call moral courage, the ability to do what's right, even when it's difficult, unpopular, or costly. While his peers are constantly changing their opinions based on social trends or peer pressure, the Sigma maintains consistent principles that guide his choices. Here's a practical example. In high school, while others are experimenting with drugs, alcohol, or risky behaviors to gain social acceptance, the Sigma evaluates these choices against his long-term goals and values. He doesn't need to be lectured about consequences. He's already thinking 3 moves ahead. He asks himself, does this align with who I want to become, rather than, will this make me popular? This early development of value-based decision-making becomes his navigation system for life. In adulthood, while others are constantly second-guessing themselves, seeking validation for their choices, or living with regret over decisions made to please others. The Sigma moves through life with confidence and clarity. The Sigma understands that every decision is a vote for the type of person you want to become. Most people learn this in their final decades, often filled with regret over a lifetime of choices made for the wrong reasons. 4. Authentic self-expression. Most children learn to be chameleons, constantly adapting their personality to fit different social situations. They become one person with their parents, another with friends, and yet another at school. This fragmentation continues into adulthood, creating people who don't even know who they really are. But Sigma males learn early that authentic self-expression isn't just liberating, it's strategically superior. The young Sigma doesn't feel compelled to laugh at jokes he doesn't find funny, pretend to like music that bores him, or adopt opinions that don't align with his thinking just to fit in. He intuitively understands that wearing masks is exhausting and ultimately self-defeating. Instead of trying to be likable to everyone, he focuses on being genuinely himself and attracting people who appreciate his authentic nature. This doesn't mean the Sigma is inflexible or rude. He understands social etiquette and can adapt his communication style to different contexts, but his core personality, values, and perspectives remain consistent regardless of his audience. He's the same person whether he's talking to his boss, his grandmother, or his closest friend. Consider the workplace implications. While others are playing political games, trying to figure out what the boss wants to hear, or adopting fake personalities to climb the corporate ladder, the Sigma's authentic approach often leads to faster recognition and advancement. People trust him because they know exactly what they're getting. His consistency becomes his brand. This authentic self-expression creates what psychologists call congruence, perfect alignment between your inner self and outer expression. Most people spend their entire lives feeling like frauds, constantly worried about being found out or having their true nature exposed. The Sigma never experiences this anxiety because he's always been genuinely himself. The magnetic effect of authentic self-expression can't be overstated. In a world full of people wearing masks, desperately trying to project curated versions of themselves, the Sigma's genuine nature stands out like a beacon. People are naturally drawn to authenticity because it's so rare. Most people only discover the power of authentic self-expression in their later years, often after decades of trying to be someone they're not. The Sigma male learns this lesson as a child, giving him a lifetime advantage in building genuine relationships and creating meaningful success. 5. Resource conservation wisdom. While most children learn to want everything immediately and spend impulsively, Sigma males develop an almost mystical understanding of resource conservation that most people only discover after decades of financial mistakes and regret. This isn't about being cheap or miserly. It's about understanding the true value of time, energy, money, and attention. The young Sigma instinctively recognizes that resources are finite and should be invested wisely rather than spent carelessly. While his peers are begging their parents for every new toy, gadget, or trend, the Sigma child is already thinking strategically about what truly adds value to his life. He'd rather have one high-quality item that serves him well than 10 cheap things that break or become meaningless quickly. This wisdom extends far beyond money. The Sigma child learns to conserve his energy for things that matter. He doesn't waste emotional energy on drama, doesn't spend mental energy worrying about things he can't control, and doesn't invest time in activities or relationships that don't align with his goals. He intuitively understands what Warren Buffett took decades to articulate. The difference between successful people and really successful people is that really successful people say no to almost everything. Consider how this plays out in social situations. While others are spreading themselves thin, trying to maintain dozens of superficial friendships, the Sigma focuses his social energy on a few meaningful relationships. He understands that deep connections require investment, and he'd rather have 3 close friends than 30 acquaintances. In academic settings, while classmates are frantically trying to excel at everything, the Sigma identifies his strengths and interests, then focuses his efforts strategically. He doesn't try to be good at everything. He becomes exceptional at what matters most to him. This focus creates compound effects that accelerate his success in chosen areas. The Sigma's resource conservation creates what economists call opportunity cost awareness, the understanding that every yes to one thing is a no to something else. Most people learn this principle in their 60s or 70s, often after wasting decades of time, money, and energy on things that didn't truly matter. This early wisdom becomes the foundation for long-term wealth building, career success, and life satisfaction. While others are constantly stressed about money, time, or energy shortages, the Sigma moves through life with abundance because he's learned to invest his resources wisely rather than spend them impulsively. 6. Legacy-focused thinking. Perhaps the most profound lesson that Sigma males learn in childhood is to think beyond the immediate moment and consider the long-term impact of their actions. While most children, and sadly most adults, live in a constant state of now, the young Sigma is already thinking about the person he wants to become and the legacy he wants to leave. This isn't about grandiose dreams of fame or recognition. It's about understanding that every action, decision, and habit is building towards something larger. The Sigma child asks himself questions that most people don't consider until they're facing their own mortality. What kind of man do I want to be? How do I want to be remembered? What impact do I want to have on the world? This legacy-focused thinking creates what psychologists call temporal perspective, the ability to see your current actions within the context of your entire life story. While his peers are focused on immediate gratification, the Sigma is willing to sacrifice short-term pleasure for long-term gain. He'll choose studying over video games, saving over spending, and skill development over entertainment because he can see how these choices compound over time. Consider the practical implications. The Sigma child who thinks about legacy doesn't just complete assignments. He develops a reputation for excellence. He doesn't just make friends. He builds relationships based on mutual respect and shared values. He doesn't just participate in activities. He becomes someone others look up to and remember. This future-focused mindset creates incredible resilience during difficult times. When facing setbacks, disappointments, or challenges, the Sigma doesn't see them as permanent problems, but as temporary obstacles on a longer journey. He understands that every great story includes chapters of struggle and growth. The Sigma's legacy thinking extends to how he treats others. He's kind, not because kindness feels good in the moment, but because he wants to be the type of person who adds value to others' lives. He keeps his word, not just because it's convenient, but because he's building a reputation for integrity that will serve him throughout his life. Most people only develop this perspective in their final decades, often accompanied by regret about time wasted on trivial pursuits. The Sigma male learns to think about legacy as a child, giving him a lifetime to build something meaningful and purposeful. These 6 childhood lessons form the foundation of Sigma male excellence. While most people spend their entire lives learning these truths through painful experience, Sigma males somehow absorb them during their most impressionable years. This early wisdom becomes their secret weapon in a world that rewards conformity over authenticity. The question isn't whether you were born with these insights. It's whether you're willing to develop them now. Every Sigma male trait can be cultivated, every lesson can be learned, and every skill can be mastered regardless of your age. If this content resonated with you, if you recognized yourself in these descriptions, or if you're committed to developing these Sigma characteristics, then you belong in our community. Subscribe to Official Sigma Male and join thousands of men who are choosing the path of authentic power over social validation. Your future self will thank you for the decision you make right now. The Sigma journey begins with a single step, the decision to think for yourself. Take that step today.